how many versions of Batman will we see in The Flash? Hey, welcome back to Nerdist News. I'm Hector Navarro, and today we're lighting the bat signal, rappelling into the Batcave, and calling all Michael Keaton Batman fans because there was a trailer for the first major Flash movie to ever be released during that big game on Sunday, and all anyone seems to be talking about is Batman.
I'm Batman.
Welcome to being a DC Comics fan. Am I bitter that The Flash is getting overshadowed in his own film? Yes, maybe. But am I insanely excited that we're getting Michael Keaton back in the cowl? Of course I am. I'm not an idiot. I'm just a dork.
I'm Batman.
So we're going to bat dive into a warehouse full of henchmen, spoilers, and just mercilessly kick the crap out of them. So if you want to go into the new Flash movie without knowing anything other than Michael Keaton Batman is in it, this is your chance to travel through the Speed Force and get the heck out of here.
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
To bring everyone up to speed, the first full trailer for The Flash was released this past weekend, and a bunch of awesome stuff happened in it. We saw troubled actor Ezra Miller reprise their role as Barry Allen and set up the dramatic stakes of the film. Barry must travel through time and to different realities to try and save his mom, who died when Barry was young. And maybe he breaks the universe in the process. In the adventure, we see Barry meeting a version of Barry before he got his Flash powers, also played by Ezra Miller, along with not one, but two different Batmans.
Yeah, boy, between the two of us, we're gonna get a lot of stuff done. We're gonna kick some ass.
Not only does Barry Allen of the previously referred to DC Extended Universe reality get some advice from that franchise's Batman, Ben Affleck, but then Barry also travels to another world where Batman is played by, for the first time since 1992's Batman Returns, Michael freaking Keaton.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the trailer is also full of even more DC goodness. We see General Zod from Man of Steel, a new Supergirl, and more comic book action than you can shake a batarang at. The trailer confirmed a lot of internet fan speculation going around the past few years, while also creating some new questions we're going to attempt to answer. Namely, will there be more than two Bruce Waynes in The Flash?
Hi, how are you?
The first thing we should briefly discuss is the comic book inspiration the film seems mostly based on, Flashpoint, a series released in 2011 and a comic that technically closed the door on one DC Comics reality while definitively setting up another, the New 52. At one point, this solo Flash movie was actually going to just be called Flashpoint, so it's clear to see how far back the comic served as a story inspiration. Speaking of, this script and production have gone through a lot of changes with multiple writers and directors attached through the years, so how much of the initial idea still remains intact in the final product is just something we can only guess at. The comic Flashpoint featured a story where Barry Allen went back in time to prevent the murder of his mom, accidentally changed the fabric of reality, and gave us an older, more hardened and murdery Batman, a kidnapped and sun-deprived Kryptonian, and an ending that featured minor and major changes to the DC universe. So that might be exactly what we get with this Flash movie. In DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn's announcement for the future of the DCU, he did say that this Flash film will reset the entire DC universe. But then the question of how exactly Michael Keaton's Batman factors into this story comes up, along with wondering what he's been up to since Batman Returns. After Barry talks with Ben Affleck's Bruce in the trailer, we have multiple Barrys finding themselves in the classic Batcave of the 1989 Batman film, and we even hear the iconic Danny Elfman Batman theme. Now, back to the Flashpoint comic for a quick second. One thing to note about how Barry changed the timeline was that somehow, by saving his mom, that action butterfly affected into the murder of the Waynes in Crime Alley going a little differently. Instead of Thomas and Martha being shot, leading to Bruce Wayne growing up into the Dark Knight, it was actually little Bruce who died. And instead, a vengeful Thomas Wayne became the vigilante Batman, who later learned his wife lost her mind and became that reality's version of the Joker. So yeah, we can see why Barry had to fix things in the Flashpoint comic. So could Michael Keaton actually be playing Thomas Wayne in this movie, meaning there is only one Batman Bruce Wayne played by Ben Affleck? Probably not, no. You don't get Michael Keaton to put on that rubber suit after so many years just for him to not be Bruce Wayne. This is an adaptation after all. Changes are going to be made.
Could you tell me which of these guys is Bruce Wayne?
Well, I'm not sure.
But could we see some version of the Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman? maybe played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan from the Batman vs. Superman flashbacks. It's a possibility, but we wouldn't bet on it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has been itching to play that role for years now, so maybe let's get him for an animated movie or something. It could be cool. Actually, you know what? There was already an animated movie that adapted the Flashpoint comic book, so you know what? Maybe that Jeffrey Dean Morgan ship has sailed. Sorry. The other thing we can ask is if any other classic Batmans will make an appearance in The Flash. Even though 1989's Batman and 1992's Batman Returns were followed up by two sequels, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, a new Flash TV spot, also released during the big game, gave us an incredible shot of Keaton's various bat suits in the cave, and the internet has already pointed out that we don't see any of the suits from Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. So does that mean that Michael Keaton's version of Batman never went on those adventures? Just like how Michael Keaton himself was recast in those films. He never fought Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face, or Jim Carrey Riddler, or Uma Thurman Poison Ivy, or Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze. Let's get nerdy for a second. Will this new Flash film firmly establish that the Val Kilmer Batman movie and the George Clooney Batman movie were separate realities than the Earth 89 reality that Michael Keaton hails from? So could Val Kilmer or George Clooney from the Joel Schumacher Batman films make some sort of appearance as Barry Allen Flash travels through the multiverse? Or maybe even Christian Bale from Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Anything is possible, but we have to point out that Kilmer is semi-retired, other than his fantastic scene in Top Gun Maverick, and that Clooney seems less than enthused about his contribution to the legacy of comic book films.
This is why Superman works alone.
If other Batmans played by other actors do show up, it would probably be in the form of fun cameos rather than being integrated into the plot. The Flash film seems to be focusing on having both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's Bruce Waynes serving as mentors to Barry Allen. Adding too many other versions of Batman for too long would lessen that impact. This is a Flash movie after all, not Batman No Wayne's Home. But maybe the answer to, did Michael Keaton Batman not go through other adventures in his own timeline, has already been answered with a recent comic book that was released, Batman 89. The limited series that began being published in August of 2021 and had a collected edition of all 6 issues released last year gives us a comic continuing the Batman and Batman Returns story and ignoring the events of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. We see a version of Harvey Dent, who was played by Billy D. Williams in Tim Burton's original Batman, turn into the villain Two-Face, as well as the introduction of a Robin who is modeled after actor Marlon Wayans, who was originally supposed to play Robin alongside Michael Keaton. It was written by Sam Hamm, screenwriter of those first 2 Burton Bat films, and illustrated by Joe Quinones, who draws Keaton and company better than anyone on the planet. It got great reviews, and if you're a Keaton Batman fan, you should go to your local comic shop and buy it. My review? It's the best Batman movie never made. It's awesome. One more fun fact is that audiences also recently saw Tim Burton's Batman world revisited in the TV special Crisis on Infinite Earths, with a fun cameo from actor Robert Wuhl, who played reporter Alexander Knox in Burton's first Bat film.
Oh, I read your work. I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, thanks. Can I have a grant?
There, the universe was designated Earth 89, which might also give us a clue as to how Michael Keaton's Batman world will be referred to in the new Flash movie. On top of all of that, DC Comics officially acknowledged that Batman universe as Earth 789 in a new comic titled Dark Crisis Big Bang #1, which just came out in December of last year. They chose designation Earth 789 because DC Comics actually merged the Keaton Batman world with the Superman 78 comic world, which was another series that was a continuation of the Christopher Reeve Superman and Superman 2 films, while also ignoring its Part 3 and 4, just like the Batman 89 comic did. Does that mean Michael Keaton's Batman universe will be called Earth 789 in the Flash movie, and that he might reference having worked with Christopher Reeve's Superman?
This is why Superman works alone.
Does this open the door for a Reeve Superman footage cameo or moment? Are your fan senses tingling yet? And keeping things Batman, if we get into the history of DC on the screen, could we also see Adam West via visual effects or old footage? Back to the shot of Keaton's Batsuits in the TV spot. One of the Batsuits has the classic Batman 66 logo on it. If you zoom and enhance the shot, you can also see a classic gray and blue Batman suit, something comic book fans have been waiting to see for decades. And it also looks like Ben Affleck will be sporting the blue and grays, so classic Bat fans are eating good with this movie.
cold. It's vice versa. It's supposed to be cold.
There's also the possibility that we're treated to an animated version of Batman or two. The Flash is a multiverse movie after all. Why not show an animated universe? Some of the most iconic portrayals of Batman have been in animated series. And last year's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness also showed those Marvel heroes jumping through realities, including a brief animated one, so maybe the DC multiverse will do the same. However, one Batman we probably won't be seeing in this film is Robert Pattinson's take on the character from Matthew Reeves' The Batman. While getting a cameo from Pattinson would probably be easier than Kilmer or Clooney reprising their takes on the role, that Pattinson version of the Batman is now considered a DC Elseworlds property instead of part of the main DCU. And James Gunn made it clear in his DCU Chapter 1 announcement that he wants there to be a clear separation between Elseworlds and the mainline DCU story. Adding Pattinson into the mix in The Flash could add some confusion, the very thing that James Gunn is trying to avoid. But of course, like any good internet mystery, this Batman question gives us another Batman question. Will there be multiple Batmans in the DCU moving forward? We know from James Gunn's DCU announcement that this Flash film will serve as an entryway into the first chapter of the new DCU. But other already completed films from what was known as the DCEU will still be released after The Flash, putting them into the DCU as well, such as Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming later this year. In an interview with The Wrap, Aquaman star Jason Momoa said, "I shot with a couple of different Batmans, but you just don't know what's going on, and we'll see what the end product is." This could mean a few different things. Either there are multiple Batmans that show up in the Aquaman sequel, or that the Ben Affleck's Batman appearance was reshot with Michael Keaton's Batman to fit into the future DCU, or vice versa. It could also be the surprise first time we see a new Batman that will be the main Batman for the DCU moving forward. It's truly impossible to claim for certain until we hear more.
Just like a bat. I dig it.
We just know that we wouldn't be surprised to see more versions of Batman hiding in the shadows in The Flash when it comes to theaters June 16th, 2023. But in the meantime, what do you folks think? What was your single favorite moment from that new Flash trailer? Should this movie be called No Wayne's Home? How many Batmans will we see in The Flash?
Tough.
Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.